Members of the Diplomatic Corps, honorable delegates, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Thank you for the opportunity to participate in this inaugural circular economy hotspot. As you can see, I'm nervous. I always get nervous when I speak in public, and in an audience like this, it's even worse. The discussions so far, thank you, have been really interesting. I think I would join speakers from yesterday who have said that the conversations we're having now cannot be standalones, that they have to be part of a series of engagements that would take us towards a full circular economy. For many of us, a whole lot of new concepts were raised yesterday in the conversation, and then there are others in the room who would be saying that they've been working and applying a circular economy approach for a good while already. But you would agree with me, I think, ladies and gentlemen, that the top risks for the next 10 years, as identified by international agencies, would include extreme weather events, critical changes to the Earth's systems, biodiversity loss, ecosystem collapse, and natural resource shortages. And all of these would, I think you would agree, demand a different way of doing business from all of us. So the Western Cape government has approached the question of circular economy from a green economy framework. We accept that the issues we need to deal with are cross-cutting. And so I am employed in the Department of Economic Development and Tourism. I know that I have colleagues in the Department of Environmental Affairs, the Department of Local Government, the Department of Infrastructure, and the Department of Agriculture that have all worked very hard at putting in place enabling green economy and circular economy policies and programs that are aimed at achieving greater environmental and resource sustainability while we are a prosperous region. So in partnership with the City of Cape Town and a number of other municipalities, we have worked on an enabling policy environment, understanding that government is an enabler rather than necessarily always the primary driver. We understand that the primary driver of the economy is the private sector, and so what we need to do is to understand how we can enable and where there are gaps in the market where we can drive. Our reasons for prioritizing the green economy include the following. There's a surge in climate shocks and stresses which demands an immediate and collaborative action. Decarbonization is necessary for economic sustainability, export promotion, and attracting foreign direct investment. And the previous speaker made reference to the fact that sustainability is in fact the thing that makes you profitable in the long run. Globally, there's a mix of shareholder pressure, changing consumer preferences, stricter corporate governance, which we can all do with more, an increased focus on lower carbon economic paths, and new regulations to supply chain requirements that are fueling a shift to greater sustainability. I think these changes are likely to be more demanding. If one thinks of carbon border adjustment mechanisms as one of the ways of tracing the resource intensity of the products that get sold and bought. And for us, while there are threats, there are also significant opportunities in the sector. And so one starts thinking about new products and new systems, and new products have been showcased already over the last day and a half. New systems have been called for as well. Our work to attract sustainable investment can only be done through collaboration. And so we collaborate with organizations such as WESGRO. They are the province's Tourism, Trade and Investment Development Agency. We work with an institution like the Atlanta Special Economic Zone, who you've seen their exhibition downstairs, and they're the only green tech SEZ in South Africa. One of the key things about the Atlantis SEZ is that it both seeks to attract investment in green tech sector, but it also through its collaboration with UNIDO, for example, the Industrial Development Organization, wants to be a showcase of sustainable production. So illustrating clean production in sectors that aren't necessarily in and of itself green tech. And so smaller carbon footprint, fewer resources used, less electricity used, less wastewater produced, etc. Some of you may be aware of the work that my colleagues are doing in the Saldanha, Freeport Saldanha SEZ around green hydrogen. We think that that's one of the key opportunities for us as a region. And again, it's collaboration with the Northern Cape and Eastern Cape governments within the context of a national program for industrial development. And of course, the Western Cape government partners with Green Cape. Green Cape you will have also heard of, and many of you work with Green Cape. Green Cape has, I think, been recognized as a thought leader in the world of sustainable development. The Industrial Symbiosis Program, for example, is a fairly well-known example of work towards lower resource use. We also partner with international agencies to develop the appropriate enabling environment and to leverage expertise from other parts of the world. And we've had the benefit at this conference and in other areas of work to collaborate with the Netherlands, Germany, the Scandinavian region, and we heard the ambassador from Finland this morning. But there's also institutions such as the World Bank, the African Development Bank, USAID. Those are some of the examples of work that we have done with international partners. I think let me, as a way to end and provide some of the vision that we have as a Western Cape government at the moment. In 2023, an economic growth strategy called Growth for Jobs was adopted by the Western Cape government. It's the first time in a long while that we've had a very clearly articulated economic growth strategy. And at the heart of that strategy is the aspiration to have a 1 trillion rand economy by 2035. Now, for us to achieve that, or get anywhere close to that, we have to make major shifts. And then you have to make sure that those shifts are made in a sustainable and a responsible manner so that we can continue growing in an inclusive and an just manner, and in a manner that doesn't simply deplete the environment for the sake of profit. So two of the primary focus areas in the Growth for Jobs strategy, and there's a number, there's investment, there's exports, there's infrastructure, but two that I want to mention here is the energy resilience priority focus area and the water security and resilience. We would all remember the 2017-18 drought, and the load shedding challenges are in recent memory. And so if one is going to have a sustainable economy, how do you deal with the consumption of resources, in particular water and energy? The Growth for Jobs strategy recognizes the need for infrastructure that enables circular economy activity, i.e. reuse, recycle, and recovering, and that minimizes the amount of material used across the infrastructure life cycle or value chain. And that, in my area of work, is particularly important because I am working in a team that's responsible for putting in place infrastructure that helps the economy grow. So the vision that the Growth for Jobs strategy sets out is the following. We're hoping to have a provincial economy that achieves breakout economic growth, resulting in sufficient employment and opportunity, and an economy that is sustainable, resilient, diverse, and thriving, generating confidence, hope, and prosperity for all. I know it's a big vision, it's a lot of words, but if you want to get a better sense of the Growth for Jobs strategy, you're welcome to simply look at the website of the Department of Economic Development and Tourism, and to contact our department to have conversations about Growth for Jobs. So in conclusion, I wish to invite you to partner with us in chasing the future possibilities I set out in the Growth for Jobs. The first one being the Western Cape has enabled the generation, procurement and trading of low carbon energy across municipalities, the private sector and households. So can we achieve a low carbon energy situation in the region? Businesses, citizens and government have adopted world-class energy efficient production processes and operations that reduce the carbon intensity of our energy consumption. That's the second one. Western Cape industries are efficient and water-wise with reliable, de-risked local supply chains. And the last one, the Western Cape is significantly more competitive as a region because the focus on sustainability enables us to have better productivity and derive greater use from each resource unit that we use in the economy. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for your attention. And as noted earlier, I look forward to making progress towards a circular economy as defined by, for example, the speaker from the CSIR yesterday, and as was, I think, explained by a lot of the participants in the conference so far. Thank you.